Y'all ready to do this Hugo Ask Me Anything? What's an easy way to do 360 on pad? Somebody said jump, then input 360. This guy's from the early 2000s. Yeah, just jump in and do a 360. So the 360 input in this game, you actually don't need the diagonals. You just need the cardinal directions, which is left, right, down, up. No diagonals. You can use the diagonals, right? But it's actually not necessary, and you can order them in a way that as long as you end in up, you'll get the 360. If you do right, left, down, up, that gives you a 360. Left, right, down, up. So that's pretty much it. There's not really a whole lot more to it, whether you're on pad, hitbox. It's really about understanding the inputs that are involved. Understanding that your character, whenever they jump, they're still on the ground, technically. Their throw box actually is airborne. This little green box down here. But your character actually takes a while to leave the ground. Every character in Street Fighter 3 and a lot of fighting games. If we go to the miscellaneous, you can see jump data. And we got 6 and 8. This is basically if it's a regular jump or a super jump. So when you do a regular jump, you're still on the ground for 6 frames. If you do a super jump, 8 frames. So during that jump startup, it's going to be after you hit up or even diagonal. That's when you're actually inputting the punch button. So maybe it's thought that you're doing up and then a circle, like up, left, down, right, which is probably possible, but highly unnecessary. Oh, I don't even think I can do it. Maybe I can do a super jump first and do it. I can't even do that. Oh, I did it! That's possible, but if I put my hand camera on, you'd be like, wow, that's not, don't do that. There's no need for that. This is also how you explain how standing gigas is possible, because you have those 8 frames during the super jump where you can actually get that. So it shouldn't make a difference whether you're on pad, stick, hitbox. You end in up. You don't start with up. Why do you say GG's after stunning someone? Can you really get the kill at 60%, 70%? Health after stun. After a stun. Well, I mean, just saying good games is for comedic purposes, but oftentimes, yeah. Like, depending on the hit you get with Hugo, if you have Hammer Frenzy, you got 2 Hammer Frenzy stocked up, they're gonna die. If I hit Makoto with a jump cancel clap, look at this stun. There we go. If I'm successful with this mix-up, they're probably gonna die. Sheesh. That's 1 hit. Super hits. I can taunt for more damage. It's more than enough. It's more than enough. Alright, next question. What role does clap play in neutral and offense? How can I use it to its greatest potential? Just saw your new video. Oops. Still gonna answer it. So I use clap as a meter build technique to clip normals into Hammer Frenzy. Sometimes it happens to anti-air, that's nice. But the other reason is to bait their whiff punish. If we look at the stats on each clap, you got 28 duration for the light punch, 28 for the medium, and 30 for the heavy. But the heavy has higher startup and less recovery than the rest of them. So what tends to happen is they'll see the heavy and then react too late, because the point that they're reacting, the recovery is less by the time they react and recognize which one it is. So what could end up happening is you do a clap from a long distance and then they try to punish it with Ken's SA3, but they reacted just too late. Or maybe it's crouching medium kick or a sweep, and that's what tends to happen. So what that does is it causes hesitation in your opponent to not want to address the claps. And that gives me a little bit more freedom in neutral to walk and hit medium punch just because I'm presenting this threat. Let's say Ken is doing medium kick. If I do this at a space, I can actually hit this. Let me get a little bit closer. And if I use heavy clap, it's going to give me a lot of time to hold the Hammer Frenzy input. So combined with heavy punch clap, combined with the crouching state, gives me a lot of time. They're in more hit stun, and I'm using heavy clap, so I can walk up for a lot of time. Medium is also possible, but you have to release it at just the right moment. And even light punch should be possible, but a little more difficult. Yeah, that's pretty much it for claps. Build meter, give them an obstacle, combo and a hammer frenzy. If it happens to hit them in the air, cool. I don't play third strike, but if I was going to, should I play Hugo or should I pick a good character? Hugo's pretty good. He's just really hard to play. Yeah, I have a video in mind about the opposite end of the spectrum, because I just made a video about tips for new third strike players, but it's more like the well-tempered, build a foundation, block, hit confirm, whiff punish. Those basic things. I'm going to make another video that's going to get more views. How to play third strike like a dickhead. But it's actually like high-level stuff that you do want to learn into your game plan eventually. Sean Masterclass next. I think there's a little more things with Sean I could review. He's got some weird stuff. You can actually wake up with his forward heavy kick and it beats throws, but it's unsafe. Can you go into detail about knockdowns? You've mentioned it's all lies. I gotta be careful with my comedic stuff. Knockdowns, you can get a baseline and know how most knockdowns are going to behave. Some characters have similar knockdowns. The Shotos, Akuma, Ryu, Sean, and Ken, they get up similarly, but it seems like Ken can get up 2 frames faster on some knockdowns. Against Hugo, at least, Remy actually seems to get up the quickest out of anybody. I mean, the long and short of it is, every character gets up differently. Twins also share the same knock. Twins are the same, as far as I know. But other than that, you have to just go in and look at it. The good news is, this is the kind of game where you can kind of play by the seat of your pants. You can fly by the steering wheel or whatever. You can just kind of feel it out and see if it works or not. There's no need to really frame kill all the time. You should learn those eventually, but it's not a necessity. But there's 2 knockdowns. You can quick get up, or you can stay on the ground. Most of the time you want to quick get up. I don't know when you wouldn't want to do that. So, I mean, there's some situations I can think of, but for the most part, when you quick get up, which is tapping down when you hit the ground, you actually you build meter while you do that too. So like the scenario with Hugo, the 360, I can't think of any reason why you would not want to quick tech. I think 100% of the time you quick tech. There's some Hugo setups that I've never actually been able to pull off, where if you don't stand up immediately, then there won't be an ambiguous cross-up. I think it was against Makoto. There's a knockdown with Lariat. I think it's Makoto. Maybe it was light kick knockdown. It's something like this. So that's behind, and I think if you do early hits in front. But if you stay on the ground, that's not going to be a threat. Which most people do, because they're like, what? Light kick, lariat, knockdown? What is that? So if they stay on the ground, they can avoid this, but she's still on the ground long enough where I can do a heavy clap. I looked at this a long time ago. Never really got to do it, though. Combo I see with Hugo is ultra throw into palm bomber into backbreaker. It seems very hard to pull off. Do you have any advice? I wish I knew the root of why you do some variations and not the others. Most of the time, you can do light punch clap into light kick backbreaker, and that tends to work on nearly everybody. You want to do the light punch clap really late, like almost before they land. If you do it too early, the backbreaker won't hit them in time. I wish I knew the exact explanation for this. You can also do medium punch clap into heavy kick backbreaker. This seems to be easier for some reason for me, but I'm not sure if it works on every character. This is one thing that's kind of on the back burner for me, is testing out what, like, every single character, can I do medium punch clap or light punch clap, or can I do it at all? And I believe you can do light punch clap in the EX Lariat in some scenarios, like mid-range. Need to have their health back to what it was. There we go. I think that's worth it. You get a good knockdown, you get more damage and stun out of it. It would just be the palm that's doing more damage, because you would compare that to, oh my god, you would compare that to just doing a heavy kick lariat, which is 68. That don't matter too much. 27, 33 damage. That's actually good. 17, 43. About 10 more damage, more stun, better knockdown. That's actually good. Let's gameplay and more personal a little bit, but why? But why male models? Why do you play Hugo? Do you like his win condition? Do you just think he looks cool? Some combination of the previous two, or something entirely unrelated? I'd love to hear your answer. When I first started playing fighting games, I played Yang because he was cool, he was fast, whatever. Yeah. And he had Rekkas. Rekkas are like the Fei Long thing. And when I was really young, I loved Bruce Lee. So that's pretty much it. So I played Yang up until Street Fighter 4, pretty much. I played some Hugo here and there. But when Street Fighter 4 came out, pretty much didn't play much Third Strike, which is shameful. But then when I returned to Third Strike, I wanted to do something different. And back then, I was an aggressive player. I would just try to rush down. Hugo can't do that very well. So it was a way to build my defensive fundamentals. And I felt like he was a character that required mastery of the game. And I felt like it would improve me as a player to play him. And he was just really cool. I thought he was super sick. Like Tachi Gigas, I just wanted to do that. I realize now what a stupid thing it was to feel like I was a master of Third Strike. Or even like, for that reason is weird. Because I didn't know. Playing on PS2. For starting from there, playing on PlayStation. Third Strike on PlayStation was terrible. But I mean, that's pretty much it. He requires you to allow your opponent to set the pace of the match. It's really hard to impose your will as Hugo. You have to deal with their options first, and then you can kind of make it work. So that's it. He's cool. I noticed that it is significantly less consistent to do Meat Squasher versus Moonsault Press. It more often didn't came out for whatever reason. What is the secret input to Meat Squasher? How do you perform it? It should be the same thing. I don't know if there's a special rule for the buffer window. Let me see if you can do Meat Squasher with a diagonal. I doubt it. No, you still need up. I don't know. Maybe there's a different buffer window. I don't know. I can't tell the difference. But I do know what you're talking about. Sometimes it feels like 360 is easier. I don't think so. I think they're the same. His color palette is the best without saying his OG pink one. Nah, I like Wolfgang Amadeus Hugo. This is all me. I hit all the characters with a heavy punch and happen to land on that. That's how it goes. And I stand by that. How do you close distance with Hugo, and how do you set up your offense in neutral? Oh, wow. Also, how do you deal with Bullshido? Certain characters like Akuma, Air Fireball, Tatsu, Teleport, and Ibuki, good jump buttons, and a lot of safe buttons in neutral. So, how do you close the distance with Hugo? You don't. You walk. You just walk at him. I don't know how to briefly explain this, but you're playing bad footsies. As good as medium punch is, it's really slow and the recovery is awful. As good as down medium kick is, sort of the same issue. It's not that fast, the knockdown sucks, and the recovery is terrible. So you want these moves to contact your opponent. And because they're so low reward, your opponent has some incentive to just input parry sometimes in neutral. And they might catch one of these and actually start getting into, you know, their offense if they happen to parry one of these. So I go back to the original, like the previous two questions. You have to play at their pace and see what they're doing. Like, what is their method of approach? And you have to tailor your neutral with what they're doing first. That's why with Hugo, a lot, I'll use movement before I use my normals. And the Ken matchup is a perfect example. When Ken is at near heavy kick range, I might forward parry here. When I'm in medium kick range, crouching medium kick, I might down parry here. But while I'm doing that, I'm hitting medium punch and I'm hitting down medium kick. And I'm making sure, for the most part, that they contact. And then what I'm also doing is checking for him if he's going to jump. Because they're going to jump. They're going to do a late jump attack, or early jump attack, EX Tatsu. So while all these are happening, you're trying to walk forward as much as you can to get them, to walk backwards. So you can get them to the corner. And then they can't move backwards. That's pretty much all there is to it. Now you have them here. You can do lots of damage in the corner. That's pretty much it. There's some cool things you can do, like if he does a really badly spaced heavy kick, you can EX lariat that. I think that is really good. Most of the time you hit medium punch or down medium kick, but it's kind of suck. Unless you're piling on that stun from medium punch, it's really not that high reward. But if you hit a EX lariat for a poorly spaced heavy kick, you're in the money. Get in there. Yeah. And once again, that's another reason why I play Hammer Frenzy. Because even if I down parry Ken's down medium kick, there's some ranges where I can't even 720 it. Maybe it was sweep. Like that. Hammer Frenzy will solve that. Yep. And the input's easier to do. Just starting to play Third Strike because of these videos. What are some things I should learn right away with Hugo to get started? Other than not picking Hugo. Second question, what do you think Hugo teaches you about 3S and that other characters don't? It goes back to the previous answer and how you have to play at your opponent's pace, which is a really good lesson to learn about fighting games because you can apply that with any character, and if it's a higher strength character, you become a really dangerous player once you understand that. How to manipulate your opponent's overwhelming amount of good things that they can do against you. So this makes me think of Robo Hugo. I was thinking about this the other day. Some people used to call it Chun players that just did back heavy punch, down medium kick, throw. They would call that Robo Chun. Just build meter with any button. Whatever. It's Robo Chun. Usually they end up not being that great, but they get carried by that simple strategy. Which is fine. If I were to describe a Robo Hugo, it would be parry and then 360 things. Like that. Parry on wake up and 360. 360 on wake up. Block on wake up. Maybe backbreaker on wake up. And then just hit medium punch and down medium kick a lot. That'd be it. To this day, like, I think Hayao is Robo Hugo for the most part. He plays it supremely well, but he don't really use lariat that much. But he's just excellent at this idea. Dang it! That was like 5. Does it trigger Hugo players that I actively refute the name Hugo and just call him Andor? Nope, don't care. I would love to see how you deal with Ibuki and Akuma. This actually was asked down here too. I kind of forgot. Akuma, the best advice I can give you quickly is to light punch. Well, I think Hammer Frenzy is much better. A lot of Akuma players will do Tatsu and then medium kick Tatsu. What you gotta do is go into training mode and learn the timings for each one and how to recognize if it's a medium kick or a heavy kick Tatsu. So all you gotta do is learn the timing for both of these. And as long as you're reasonably close, you can punish. If you're far away, you might have to do just light kick, which sucks. What is this on block? You should be able to Hammer Frenzy this. Heavy kick version is -5 though, which I don't think is enough. Hammer Frenzy is 4. But I was looking at the hitboxes the other day, and I think it's actually 6 and not 4. It's really weird looking. So yeah, jab 360 to Tatsu. Air to air him with jump light punch and jump medium punch. This matchup sucks. Online it's even worse. Like you have to be aware of so many things that can go wrong. And the more random they are, the harder it is to deal with. Jump Tatsu is annoying. You have to parry this twice. You got to parry it 3 or 4 times if you hit it in the air. And you just got to jump medium punch. I think you can Hammer Frenzy through the air fireball. Let me actually just try that. Why not? If it hits on the ground, like later, that's probably pretty good. I don't like it. So like meaty fireball on your wake up, probably not a whole lot you can do about it. You can parry it and then block so you get more meter, I guess. When should you use Hugo's SA1 compared to SA3? Is it a matchup dependent or just personal taste? I think it's both. It depends on your reasoning. What do you enjoy? Like, you tend to play a character like Hugo because it's fun and it's sick and it's cool. So for that reason, pick SA1 all the time. Al does it. But I think SA3 is a stronger super than Gigas Breaker in a lot of matchups. Well, let's just go with what you should use, where you might use 720. I think it's good against Yang over Hammer Frenzy, though Hammer Frenzy is still good. I think those two are pretty equally matched against Yang, because he has a low health pool. Akuma also has a low health pool, but it's harder to get a 720 on him. At mid-level, you can probably do it against Urien, because a lot of Urien players might not have the unblockable setups that deal with 720. So that could be helpful, but you can do the same thing with Hammer Frenzy. Makoto players tend to be too offensive. 720 can halt their offense, but I think Hammer Frenzy is way better in this matchup. But 720 is still reasonable. You can pick it against Sean, because he sucks. I would say don't pick 720 against Q. If Q gets if he gets 3 taunts, 720 is useless. It sucks. This sucks. There's no reason to do it. Ibuki, I think all 3 supers are pretty good. I think there's a case for Megaton Press, 720 because she has low health, and Hammer Frenzy, just because Hammer Frenzy is such high utility. If she does EX Uppercut, Megaton Press can punish it, and it does a pretty good amount of damage because she has low health again. I would say you need Hammer Frenzy against Elena. I think you really got to make it hurt when you hit her because she can run away so easily. I don't know. I think 12 might be another character where you don't pick 720. Either Hammer Frenzy, maybe Megaton Press. I haven't tried that yet. Surprisingly, Chun-Li feels like a matchup you could use 720. Ryu and Ken are kind of the same thing as far as Hammer Frenzy is still better. Hammer Frenzy is way better against Denjin, I think, because you can cover more space if they do it near the corner, so you can Hammer Frenzy. If they do it outside of your 720 range, you just got to hold that. But yeah, the more I play Hugo and Hammer Frenzy, the more I think it's just better overall in most matchups. But 720 is still good and fun. You joining 3S for Evo Japan? I'll probably restream it. Dude, it's like Evo Japan, heck no. That's out of the cards for sure. I ain't doing that. But I'll restream that depending on what time it is. But I budgeted both Evo Las Vegas and Jazzy's Finale in Denver. If I go like a cheapskate, it's over $1,000, man. I can't do that. That's too much money. I also have a 1-year-old, so it's hard to take 4 or 5 days away. Can't drop a casual couple grand to go to Japan. Not now. Not right now, no. Oh, Ibuki, her toward medium kick is actually really hard to punish. The overhead move, when you parry it, it's nearly safe. But 720 can punish that. It's just really hard to do because you got to do it really fast. Which clap variation would you go through in neutral to confirm with? I like medium because it's kind of the best of both worlds. It has a lot of hit stun, and the recovery is kind of okay. But it allows you to hold Hammer Frenzy for a little bit longer. But even that, sometimes I don't hold it. I hold it too long and it doesn't connect. I've seen too many people try to learn that parry OS stuff before the foundational stuff. Yeah. It's easy to try to run before you can walk in this game. Like, I've encountered so many Urien players that can do unblockables, but they don't mash out of mashable throws or quick tech. I'm like, what? I mean, that's cool. I'm just saying, it's not a difficult thing to learn. Just hit the buttons. Somebody throws you. Tap down. Okay, what did my friend text me? Will this be the end of the video? And fade.